Hello everyone, Christmas time is here, which also happens to be Tessa's favorite holiday. And with Christmas time fast approaching, and honestly I should have made this video much sooner, you're going to want to buy some blasters for whatever reason. Whether it's for yourself or for someone you know, you want to buy a Nerf blaster. But what are the right ones to buy? Well, I am here to help you with that decision, to show you some of the best of the year. So without further ado, let's get started with this recommendation list. Alright, so we're going to go about this video in a pretty interesting way. So first we're going to cover the casual blasters, you know, the standard stuff, full length darts, N-series, all of that good stuff. And then we're going to get into the pro blasters after that. So let's get started with the casuals. So as far as casual sidearms go, there's quite a few I recommend. First, I have the N-series Ward. This is a very, very nice blaster for $5. It gets pretty darn good performance. It is nice and comfortable and built relatively well. Definitely something like good for an entry into the N-series line, and it's a really solid blaster. It's very easy to use. Just load your 2 darts into the front, prime and fire, and it works really, really well and really, really effectively. The next sidearm I'm going to recommend is another one from the N-series line, and that is the Agility. This is a very, very nice blaster in the same vein of the Strong Arm Maverick. Any of those cylinder style ones, you load in the front, prime it, and pull the trigger to fire. It's a very nice and very well-made blaster. It's not as high quality as the Ward, but it is still pretty well built. It's very nice and very comfortable for most hands. Large hands may not like it, but most hands are going to do fine with it. It works really well. This ring pull in the back is really nice. The trigger is great. It's just a really well-built blaster, and it's also good for modification too. So this is definitely one I recommend. And again, $10, a very nice and manageable price. And for the final casual sidearm of the year, I have the Adventure Force Desperado. This is Dart Zone's first double action blaster, and is by far the best double action blaster ever made. Double action is basically pulling the trigger and priming the blaster at the same time. So you have a semi-auto blaster that doesn't involve using batteries. It's very nice and very effective. Now for younger kids, they may have a little bit of trouble using this trigger effectively, but most people above the age of 9 or 10 are going to do just fine with it. It's a very nice and comfortable blaster, and also rests at exactly about $9, so a really, really good price. And it has an absolute unbelievable amount of mod potential. One of the best sidearms ever made, in my opinion, for a stock blaster, and definitely the best of this year. Alright, let's get into more of the stock Springer primaries of the year that I recommend. The first one is one I actually don't have, but from everything I've seen, this is an absolute must-buy if you're wanting something that's a little bit big but affordable and just does a lot of stuff, and that is the Infinite. This blaster is really, really cool. It works relatively well, especially if you want to open it up and remove some of the locks. It works just flawlessly, but even stock, it's still a pretty darn solid blaster, and I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something that's big and you can use effectively. It retails for about $40, but right now, at the current time of filming this video, it's pretty much on sale on Walmart and Amazon for $30. So hop on that deal if it's still around. So right here we have this. This is kind of the reshell of this Crusher. I forgot the name of it. I'll put it right here. This is a really cool blaster, but this is also another great one. It is a pump action 8-shot cylinder fed blaster in this really cool style. I really like it. And when you prime it, this foam saw spins, which is really darn cool. Now the prime isn't the smoothest because you're, doing the saw, but it's still relatively smooth, and most, people are gonna have a good time using this. This blaster also performs pretty well at about 80 FPS. It's just a really solid blaster overall, and it looks amazing. And it's only for the small price of $15. A lot of this is starting to sound like an ad. I want to make this clear right off the gate. None of these were sent to me. I paid for all of these with my own money. These are not paid reviews. These are all recommendations that I am giving based off of my experience with these blasters. My favorite casual primary Springer of this year, though, is by far the Twist Fury. This blaster is absolutely amazing. Now, this is something I'd actually recommend more for a hobbyist than a casual nerfer, but casual nerfers will like this too. It's a very nice and simple blaster. It's your standard magazine-fed style. It's compatible with Nerf magazines and all of that. They can be found at pretty much any Dollar General. They're still getting them in circulation, but most Dollar Generals I've been to recently are just starting to get them in, so that's good. And it only retails for about $15. And the amount of stuff you could do with this, if you're in the hobby space especially, there's a lot of mod potential, but even then, as a casual nerfer, you're gonna definitely like this blaster. It's really nice and solid. And it offers a unique system by this back prime method, which is really cool because you can keep your arm outstretched and aim if you want while priming the blaster. It's just a really cool design. Also, not to mention, it's based off the Taffy Design skewer, which is a hobby-made product that got converted onto store shelves, which is really cool. So if you want to support the creator of the skewer, you might want to pick this up. All right, now let's get into the casual flywheelers of this year. There are 3 that I recommend: the Nerf Rival Challenger, the Nerf Limited Destiny Ace of Spades, and the Nerf N-Series Sprinter. The Challenger is a semi-auto rival strifeoid of sorts. It is a really, really cool blaster. I do have a few complaints, and it's definitely my least favorite stock flywheeler of the year, probably, for many reasons, mainly because it is a bit bulky for what it is. The grip doesn't match the blaster. It desperately needs a stock point, and that is definitely an issue, but it does work almost flawlessly, and it's just a really well-made blaster. I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for a good rival one. This is definitely the best rival of the year, since the Mirage is the only other one. But it's a really cool blaster that works really well. It's your standard semi-auto blaster, so put the mag in, hold down the rev trigger, and fire your rounds. It works pretty well. It's pretty nice. It seems to fire a little bit softer than other rival flywheelers, but that's just a tad. It's still a really, really good blaster. It does retail for about $35, and it's pretty much in most locations, so Target, Walmart, Amazon, you should be able to find it. Next, we have the Nerf Destiny Ace of Spades. This is a prop based off of the Destiny 2 or Destiny. It's the Ace of Spades from Destiny. It is a really, really cool prop, but it's also a very innovative design that I'd actually recommend a lot of people getting. If you want, this is one of the few cases where I'd recommend almost anyone getting this, because it introduces a new system we haven't really seen before that much in the Nerf ecosystem that's not, custom made. And that is the ability to actively switch out cylinders and reload your blaster. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it's also a flywheeler, so it's basically a semi-auto pistol. It is a $50 blaster though, do take note of that, and it is only available on the Bungie store. I don't know how long. I will link it below as with all of these blasters. But on the other hand, this is such a new and innovative design that I think it's worth anyone getting. It's so useful, and with a few mods, this could be a very, very practical blaster to even run as a primary. If you get enough 3D printed cylinders, oh yeah, you could totally run this as a primary. It does have a few clunky bits. It's very similar to how the barricade operates, so if you've used the barricade, you know what I mean. The trigger can seize up sometimes and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, because of this new and innovative system, I think it's totally worth it. But in my mind, the best stock flywheeler of this year is 100% the Sprinter. This is an absolutely amazing blaster in every way, shape, and form. It is extremely comfortable to hold and use for adults and kids alike. The operating system of this is almost perfect, and as far as being an N-Series blaster, it is definitely the most reliable. It shoots the darts the most accurately and the most consistently. Laser beam accuracy. It's absolutely amazing how well this blaster works. And the trigger is unbelievably smooth. For $30, it's totally worth the pickup. As of the time of shooting this video, it's on sale for $20 at Walmart right now, so go check that out if it's still on sale. But even for $30, I recommend everyone get this if they want to dip their toes into the N-Series. This is by far the best blaster of the entire series. So those are my recommendations for the casual level blasters that came out this year. But what about the pro stuff? When you think about pro this year, the first thing that comes to mind is the Dart Zone Nexus Pro X and Aeon Pro X. The Nexus Pro X is one of the best blasters of the year. It took everything bad about the original Nexus Pro, and it made it absolutely perfect. Not only do you get the blaster in the pack, but you also get 2 of these new Talon style mags that Dart Zone have that are really, really good. But you also get a Scar Barrel. 2, in fact. Now this one is a little bit more inferior, but this one right here, the Bearing Scar, it is absolutely amazing, and it stabilizes your accuracy really, really well. The blaster has absolutely everything you could want. The operating system is smooth, it works really nice, it shoots about 200 FPS. You can swap out the spring in the back if you want. There's just so much you can do. The quality is just above and beyond what Dart Zone used to put out, even from last year. It is just really amazing how well and how customizable this blaster is. You can swap out the grip, the main grip if you want. I personally like it, so I'm fine. But I did replace the foregrip and the stock. It just is really nice and comfortable. I use the original Nexus foregrip, and I have the Max Stryker stock. But again, the customizability with this blaster is limitless. You can get spring replacements on Dart Zone. You can get the 275 FPS spring or the 120 FPS spring. It's just really cool, all the options you have with this and how well it works compared to a lot of other Dart Zone's Pro blasters or Pro springers. The Aeon Pro X is basically the same thing, but only $25 and a lot more compact. This is a top prime blaster, so not as many people will like it, but it does feature an inch strike stock point that you could take out and swap out springs with. It's also compatible with the different scars that they have, and it actually includes the plastic scar. I absolutely love the inclusion of an inch strike stock point. It just makes this blaster feel a little bit more tactical, and I really do like it. The Aeon Pro X, without a question, is definitely the best compact pro springer this year. It is amazing, it's affordable, it does all kinds of things, it has almost the same amount of customizability as the Nexus Pro X. So if you're looking for something a little bit more smaller and compact that does practically the same thing, definitely consider picking this up. It doesn't get 200 FPS, it's more around the 150 FPS range. But again, you can buy springs from Dart Zone's website to upgrade this, and it's very easy to swap out the springs from the back. One more blaster I forgot to recommend was the Max Stryker 2.0. This blaster is actually pretty darn good. It's not as refined as the Nexus Pro or Aeon Pro X, but it is a pretty solid blaster because you can swap out the mag with the drum, and it's a pretty innovative system. I personally don't like the way it looks that much. I think it shouldn't be called the Max Stryker 2.0 because it really doesn't even look like the original Max Stryker in any way. It just feels like a Nexus Pro X with the drum added to it. But it is still a really cool blaster, and for 50 bucks, you do get quite an innovative system. So I do have to recommend it on here. It is pretty darn cool. It's just a little bit more clunky than the Nexus Pro X. Alrighty, we're entering the final stretch of this video. My voice is running out, but we're going to talk about the best pro flywheelers of this year. Now, if you follow my channel for the past few months, you know I'm not going to recommend the Maxim Pro. That's actually going to be for the worst blasters of the year video, and I'll explain why later. However, I will say though, is that if you're willing to gamble and hopefully get a good one that works well, it is a good blaster. It's very nice and compact. It operates well. It is a good form factor, but it does have issues that hold it back. So I'm not going to recommend it to everyone on here unless you're just willing to gamble. However, I do recommend the Dart Zone Venom Pro. This is Dart Zone's kind of answer to the Nightingale of sorts, but it's not necessarily something that's competing with the Nightingale. It is definitely something that's kind of its own thing. Now, what makes this blaster one of the best of the year is that it's only $50, and it goes with a rechargeable battery. It has a thumb screw on the top there. It's scar muscle compatible. It goes with 2 mags, which are Nightingale style mags, so you can get more if you want. They could have easily just made them proprietary and Dart Zone sell them themselves, but no, they made them compatible with the Nightingale, which I respect. This blaster kind of outdoes everything this year for its price. It's heavily moddable. You can throw in a 3S, the motors can handle it. The backstrap rev trigger is new and innovative, and it works amazingly well. This is the ultimate pro sidearm. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. It's very fast, it's very effective. Right out of the box, there's so much you can do with it. It's just an amazing blaster in every way, shape, and form. The only way I can see people not liking this is if the grip's a little bit too big for them. It's an awkward grip for sure, but it's not uncomfortable. The backstrap rev is a little bit weird too, but you get used to it pretty fast. And the final pro flywheeler I'll recommend this year is the Siren Blink. Now, I have a lot of issues with Siren as a company, but the Blink itself is a really, really good blaster, and it's really, really effective. It's only $90. You have a lot of adjustment options. It's made really well. It works really well. It's definitely worth getting. I don't own one, but everything I've seen of it has shown that it's a really, really good blaster. So those are my recommendations of the year. Now, there are a few things that I didn't put on the list, mainly because they just, literally just came out a few days ago, or they haven't come out yet. And that is, of course, the Worker Kunlun and the X-Shot stuff, which is the X-Shot Clip Mania and the Fury X. I also didn't include any of the Nitro Shot stuff because while, yeah, they are brand new blasters technically, they're just reboots of old stuff. Now, the Omnia is supposed to be fixed, but I can't confirm that, so I'm not going to include it in this list. You may be wondering where the Siren Springers are on this list, and I did not include them on here for a few reasons, which you will see in my Worst Blasters of the Year video. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helped you figure out what you want to get. Stay tuned because I do have a Worst Blasters video coming up pretty soon to show you what not to get. My voice is giving out, so I'll see you guys in I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
My junk drawer, my junk drawer. So many things I don't know what they're for, but I won't let it go. No, I will add more useless little things to my junk drawer.